With Call of Duty World War II less than a month away and the beta having come and gone, will this be the year that Call of Duty becomes a juggernaut it once was, or it'll just be another disappointing year? And when I say disappointing, I don't mean disappointing in sales, because Call of Duty Infinite Warfare was the top selling game in 2016, even with all the negativity that surrounded it. Many of the hardcore Call of Duty fans and players who have been fans of the franchise for years really dislike the game. The community overall, from what I could gather from other YouTubers and reading forums, were really pissed off at what Infinite Warfare had to offer. For me, I had first-hand experience with it, and I can honestly say I agreed with the majority of the negativity out there. I played the game for a week and then returned it back to EB Games in exchange for Titanfall 2, which I may add was one of my favorite games of the year, so that was one of my best decisions of the year. Now, I never played the single player campaign for Infinite Warfare, but I did read that a lot of people who played the campaign thought it was quite enjoyable. But let's be real, who plays Call of Duty for the single player experience? Call of Duty didn't become one of the best selling video game franchises of all time because it has a good single player campaign. When Call of Duty World War II comes out, it will be competing with Battlefield 1 and Star Wars Battlefront 2. Battlefield 1 has been out for a year and is very popular, obviously. The graphics are beautiful, the gameplay is fun, and overall it's just a great first-person shooter experience. When you compare Battlefield 1 to the World War II beta, even with that extra year of development, Call of Duty World War II seems like, in terms of graphics and physics, Call of Duty is kind of still lagging behind. The lag is even more evident when you compare it to the recent Star Wars Battlefront 2 beta. Playing the beta this past weekend really wowed me. It's such a great looking and beautiful game with amazing sound, and when you're playing it, you really feel like you get lost in the atmosphere and the setting of Star Wars. And man, those leaves, have you played those leaves and seen those leaves in that map where they have the leaves and the doves flying everywhere? The leaves are absolutely amazing, and just the way that everything works when you run by it and the way everything looks is just absolutely extremely beautiful. So playing Call of Duty World War II makes you feel like you're kind of playing a shooter that's a few years old rather than a shooter that was made in 2017. But, and it's a big but, I can definitely see myself playing Call of Duty a lot more than Battlefront this holiday season and beyond. And I'll explain to you why. So firstly, Call of Duty World War II, no matter how much you want to hit on the graphics or an engine, on being dated, the game still handles extremely well. It is extremely snappy and silky smooth. You feel like you have full control over your character when you control them. Don't get me wrong, Battlefront and Battlefield both handle extremely well, but I do feel that there is a tinge of sluggishness when compared to Call of Duty. They have definitely improved the maps for Call of Duty World War II as well compared to Infinite Warfare. One of my biggest complaints and reasons why I returned Infinite Warfare was because I hated the maps. The World War II maps are basic and they don't stray away from the 3-lane formula, but they work, and that's honestly all that matters to me. Creating your custom loadouts that work for your game style is also something that I find is just better in Call of Duty. From the Battlefront 2 beta, it seemed like you could only choose between 2 guns per class, and I'm not sure if that will change once the full game is released, but personally, I like having that variety of different loadouts. It creates different multiple combinations that you can use in game, which then in turn creates lots of different discussions and lots of different debates of what's better and what you can use in different situations, and honestly just keeps the game fresh in my opinion. So all of these things I think will make Call of Duty the best selling game again in 2017. And of course, it also has that Call of Duty name that they have built up, even if they've been releasing the same game every year over and over again. They've built that name, people recognize that name. People who aren't hardcore gamers and don't follow the gaming industry recognize the name. So if they go to the store or if they're asking their parents to go buy them a game, they're gonna go and they're gonna see Call of Duty and they're gonna buy that because it's well known. And it's the same sort of thing that happens with other well-known franchises and other well-known gaming companies. So besides the snappy gameplay, the well-known name, and just going back to the original roots of Call of Duty, the thing that I think will sell this game more than any other reason is that nostalgia factor. We all know nostalgia works. We just have to look at Nintendo and the release of the NES Classic and the Super Nintendo Classic, and just anything that has Mario tied to it, people flock to you because of that nostalgia. Now, I know Call of Duty has a much shorter history for nostalgia, but believe it or not, it's still there. Call of Duty in its heyday was at its best between Modern Warfare and Black Ops. These are the years that guys like me were skipping high school classes trying to prestige, and Call of Duty World War II, because of its style, brings back that feeling. And if you love gaming, it's hard to resist that nostalgic feeling. Sitting back and thinking about those times in high school where there was not a worry in my mind and I was just playing Call of Duty gives me that same reason and same feeling as to why I love retro games and why I like to go out and collect retro stuff, and why so many people are crazy for retro games like the NES and the SNES Classic. So plain and simple, for my first impressions between the World War II beta and the Battlefront 2 beta, and even throwing Battlefield 1 in there because it is still being supported and they'll still have such a huge player base once Call of Duty World War II is released. Call of Duty World War II is obviously the inferior game graphically and with its presentation. But the formula that has overstayed its welcome to many people will be that reason again why it's successful for another year. And I know this goes against what a lot of people complain about in the Call of Duty community, but believe it or not, people aren't going to stop buying the game, and it's because of that. You know going into Call of Duty that you will have a fun experience. If you're a casual gamer, or even if you're a hardcore gamer, you can still find some fun in it. And Call of Duty and Activision know this, and they know they're going to sell millions and millions of copies of the game, so there's no point in them taking a risk and making a huge change. But again, the Call of Duty World War II beta to me was very fun. I will be picking it up, and I feel like I will be playing it more than Battlefront 2 this year. We'll have to wait and see, however, to see how the games grow, how the communities grow, and how everything goes down. That's just what I think about what's going to happen this year with the main first-person shooter games that are coming out. I would love to know what you guys think. What game will you be picking up, and which game do you look forward to the most, and do you think Call of Duty World War II will be very successful? Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe for more content.